Hey everyone, welcome to the DealMachine Real Estate Investing Podcast, where we help W-2 employees who want to leave their job within 12 months, earn $1 million a year, drive their dream car, pursue their passions, and take control of their life. You're going to learn from people who've replaced their W-2 income by wholesaling real estate, a way to earn big checks by finding discounted real estate and passing it off to an investor who has money, making a $25,000 finder's fee. You're going to get 2 weekly interviews and an expert-led masterclass. And I'm trying this new format out. This is my first solo episode. I'm David Lecko, and I created a process for finding off-market discounted real estate that's helped people close over 10,000 deals in all 50 states, which turned into the software platform DealMachine. So this one is for all you W-2 earners out there who want to quit your job in the next 12 months, like I said, but you haven't taken action yet. You've mostly been listening to YouTube videos, but you have decided real estate investing is the way to get there. You just haven't taken your next step.
The DealMachine REI Podcast. Everything you need to know to get started in real estate investing.
Today, we're going to talk about how you can quickly earn your first $5,000 check from your side hustle by breaking this down for you in the most basic way. For me, doing the first deal is even more important than the money it generates. It's going to be amazing to know that you have $5,000 that you created out of thin air. That's actually going to tell you, oh, it doesn't just work for David. It doesn't work for these people I see on YouTube, but it works for me. So that is the most impactful thing in focusing you so you prevent struggling with analysis paralysis is actually going to be the most important takeaway from this. You'll have instructions on exactly what to do. When I was starting, I was working like a dog, working at this tech company, and I knew that the owner was working a lot less than me. And I felt really excited at first because I was learning a lot. Eventually, though, I'm answering phone calls on a date. I'm answering phone calls in the middle of the night, doing tech support for this company. And it all comes to a head when I'm answering a phone call during my best friend's wedding. And I'm running around searching for where I can go take this call without loud music playing. I end up in my car, pushing the steering wheel in. I'm reclining the seat backwards so I have room to open up my laptop and fix it. Now, my best friend's wife was like, "Hey, where'd you go?" And she was pretty upset that I had to miss her wedding. Now, they mean a lot to me, but I'm like a very weird person in the sense that I can get so laser focused on some things, I forget about other things that are important. And all I could think of was, no, this was the right thing because I really want to set myself up for success. And the way to do that is learning as much as I can, working as much as I can now so that I can live an amazing life later. And so a normal person would have felt really embarrassed, but I was pretty strong-willed and fairly even-keeled that I knew that putting in time now was really, really what I wanted to do and what was going to be helpful for me to get there. Although she really, really helped me realize if I'm going to put in that much work, why am I doing it for someone else? I've learned a lot already. Maybe it's time that I actually focus on working for myself. So I go talk to the owner of the company and I find out he's got these real estate deals that were really, really great deals in 2009. And the reason why he got real estate instead of stocks for early retirement, which was my goal, was that the real estate can go give you cash every single month, no matter what the market's doing. And the stocks go up or down. So I went to look for real estate deals. I went to a meetup, which really got me excited knowing that there's people getting deals right now, not just in 2009 when there were these great deals, but they're getting them right now. And that got me excited to implement their advice, which was go look for rundown houses, find 100 rundown houses, and get in touch with the owners. Now, I did this for 2 months. I felt really proud. I had a list of 40 properties. And my stomach dropped when I saw one that was actually being constructed on. And I knew I had that on my list on my tablet of paper right next to my car seat. So I rushed home. I looked up the owner. And sure enough, it had sold 3 weeks earlier for a price that was lower than what I would have probably offered. So I knew this could have been an amazing first deal for me. Yet my action, I never called the person because it was really fun to find the houses and write down the actual addresses. But writing mail was very time consuming. Talking to them in person was very nerve-wracking, and cold calling was going to take up a lot of time. And I was just dedicating all my time to finding these homes. Now, a normal person would have felt embarrassed or mad that they missed out on this deal that they felt they deserved because they found it. But I'm a pretty even-keeled guy and I'm solution-oriented. So I started writing my letters and getting those sent out. It took about 23 minutes, whatever the episode of Friends was, because that's a TV show I'm having on at the same time, to actually get out like a couple of letters. And I knew I had 40 and that was going to take a really long time to get those done. And I knew there had to be a better way. So I used my software development skills that next weekend to make a basic, app that solves my problem that I have of not following up and overcoming this fear of talking with homeowners, which is necessary in order to get a deal. So I could pin an actual house on the app, on my phone rather. This wasn't an app or a business or anything. It was just a widget on my phone that I made. You could pin a house. It would look up the owner and send a piece of mail directly through another company I found that I could connect to this little widget on my phone. And so that ultimately became DealMachine. But the most important lesson was it helped me overcome my analysis paralysis. And that's the most important thing is you got to eventually stop consuming information and take action. So I'm going to lay this out for you guys. And there's really two things I want to cover so that you guys can get there faster than I did, which, obviously took more than 2 months to even reach out. Had I done that, would have gotten a deal 2 months faster. So here's what I want to cover. You want to look for distressed properties and communicate to the owners. Those are the two actions that you need to take. It doesn't really matter what's on your postcard. It doesn't really matter what color your postcard is. And it doesn't really matter where you start looking for these distressed properties, to be honest. There's 4 other things I do actually want you not to worry about, okay? I don't want you to worry about analyzing a deal. I don't want you to worry about what contract to use to get this property under contract. I don't want you to worry about how to find a buyer for your deal. And I don't want you to worry about what to do with your $5,000 check when you deposit it and put it in your bank account. The reason is, once you have a deal, these things will very easily fall in place. And you're going to use your network in your local city to do that. But in order to get the maximum value from what's around you, you just have to have a deal. This was when I first started, I read a book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and it said you need to have this team of an accountant and a lawyer and forget whoever else it said, but it said your team is so important to your business success. And while that's true, if you don't have a business yet, none of these people want to talk to you. What are they going to talk to you about? You have no revenue to even pay them. You have no business to have them analyze or optimize to save you taxes, for example, on the CPA side. So I was always a big fan of just taking action to generate revenue and then worrying about optimizing these other things later. So once you have a deal, you'll be able to use that deal to have a reason to talk to qualified buyers. And we'll go through those things in further episodes. So let's start with finding distressed properties today so you can sidestep the delays and start focusing on revenue generating activities right away where you'll learn the most from. Hey guys, if you know you want to quit your job in the next 3 months, make sure you're subscribed to this podcast because we've got some incredible frameworks with step-by-step instruction that you're not going to want to miss. Also, leave us a rating and review to let us know your favorite parts and why you want to get financial freedom. So there's 2 rules to remember when looking for distressed properties. Does it look run down? If it does, you should add it to your list, whether you're writing that on a piece of paper, whether you're using an app like DealMachine, which was created to help you keep track of this list for a low cost and save you a lot of time and follow-up. So things that would help you decide if it looks run down is, does it actually have tall grass? Is the mailbox stuffed full of mail? Are there trash cans that are left out week after week and nobody else's trash cans are left out? Is there a tarp on the roof? Is there any broken glass? Is there biological growth? There's a lot of specific things you can look for. But if you get the sense that this house just kind of looks less desirable than the rest, you should add it. I wouldn't get really hung up on this because what's most important is there any element of it that looks a little bit less than the rest of the neighborhood? If so, add it and move on. And the second thing is it's a numbers game. So you actually really want to focus on adding more distressed properties. Whenever I was first starting out, I knew that distressed properties were what I should look for. There was one right at the entrance to my subdivision. It had the bushes so overgrown big. Every time I would actually drive by it, I would know that I sent a letter to it and I'm just waiting for them to respond. And I would mentally manifest this deal being done. And I did that for about 3 months and I decided, all right, they're probably not going to respond, so I'm going to go find some more. We always get hung up in these things because once we find it, we think that is ours. We've done the work. We deserve to get that deal. But the reality is it's been run down for a long time. So just because you sent them a letter doesn't mean they're going to want to sell it that day. Something else has to also happen in their life that makes it urgent to sell that house. And when it's run down, they won't be able to sell it with a realtor. And because it's urgent, they're just going to want to get rid of it and get the cash that they can for that property. So you do have great leads by finding rundown homes, but in order to get a deal in a faster timeline, you need to reach many. So that way you find one that lines up their time frame with when you're reaching out to them. So it's a numbers game. If you're in a Midwest market, I would give you the best chance of success by telling you, write this down, to look for 500 rundown homes and communicate with them 6 times each. Communicate can be a door knock, it can be sending a postcard, it can be cold calling, it can be texting, but those are the minimum amount of work you should expect to do in order to have the chance to get a deal. Okay, so those are the 2 rules to remember when looking for distressed properties is just make sure it looks run down. One thing I hear a lot is people ask me, hey, if it's owner occupied, should I still add it even though it's run down? And the answer is yes. We often hear that the best way to get into real estate investing is to just pull a list of absentee owned properties and send direct mail to them. Well, those absentee owned properties are just absentee owned, so they may not have an urgent reason to sell. We hear that frequently, so people get confused. But when you're just looking for the rundown houses, I've done half of my deals that were owner occupied. You know, for example, one of the best deals I ever did, it was owner occupied, and I sent them 7 letters. They responded on the 7th one, but it wasn't the owner. It was actually the son of the owner. He said his parents had passed away and he needed to settle debts on their estate within 30 days. Now, this house had gutters falling off and biological growth and peeling paint, a number of things. And so I came and I gave him an offer that he accepted, and it gave him $44,000 for the house. And then I had a lot of work to do, you know, passing this off to an investor, which ended up being a friend of mine in Chicago that ended up, you know, fixing it up. So, and I got that finder's fee for doing so. And so it was an owner-occupied house. So a lot of times if it's run down, even if it's owner-occupied, no matter what the owner type is, you definitely want to add it. And so then the other way people get hung up is where to look. And like I said, I lived in a decent area. There was one right around the corner. I think you should just start looking for properties closest to your house because that's going to save you time and money and gas. And you'll start to get to know your local neighborhood right away. And so those are, again, the 2 things is, does it look run down, and send communication to 500 of these rundown homes 6 times each. Those are the 2 things to remember when looking for distressed properties. So if you're wondering what to say, okay, if you're cold calling or if you're texting or if you're sending mail or if you're leaving a sticky note or if you're in person, your main thing is to say, hey, I'm a local property owner looking for, if you're not a property owner, you could just say, I'm looking to buy a house in this neighborhood. I noticed this house right here on Main Street. Are you the one who owns it? Would you be interested in receiving a cash offer on your house? And if they say yes, then you can move forward with setting the appointment, and then you can look up, well, what do I do next? But you can get off the phone by setting the appointment to go see the house. And so you don't need to memorize the script. There's a lot of scripts out there. They're very helpful. But every time, you know, I'm getting a call back from one of my mailers, you know, I'm at the gym and I don't remember what the script is. And so I just remember very simply, I want to ask them if they're interested in receiving a cash offer on their house. And then I can set the appointment and we can talk more whenever I'm there. So again, if you're frustrated with your job and you want to learn how to earn more and have more time freedom, but you haven't taken action yet on your side hustle, and you've decided that real estate investing is the right way to do that, you know, the best relief is not having to depend on your salary. You know, that'll give you the time freedom to quit your job. But you don't want to quit it until you've got some income from a side hustle first. So the best way to go forward is get money from your side hustle. And these are the actions that are going to get you your first money from your side hustle is finding distressed homes and communicating with the owner. So that's not only going to increase the money you have, but it'll unlock mentally what you're capable of. And you need to add 500 rundown properties and communicate with them 6 times each. And so once you've done that, you'll be ready for the next steps. When you're on an appointment, you can very easily Google, what to do, but don't worry about all these extra steps because there is a million pieces of content out there that you can call on. And once you even have that deal, you can ask somebody locally, or you can ask me what to do next. And my Instagram is Lecko, Dlecko. And so that would be the best way. If you do have a question, communicate with me that you have a deal, and I will help you with the next steps and point you to the right content either way. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this episode, and it's going to be a 7-day challenge. I think that you could ideally get this done in 7 days if you've got a couple of hours every day. If not, you could actually do that in your own time. And I will see you guys on the next one. Hope you guys really enjoyed this episode. If you did, please leave us a review, and it helps us make more content to get you to financial freedom. See you on the next one.
Thanks for listening to the DealMachine Real Estate Investing Podcast. Please leave us a review and follow along wherever you're listening to your podcast.